He was my water delivery guy for a store that I ran in Watertown, jewelry store. I'd see him once a month, say hi, that was it. And then one day, we had a special event at the store and I was wearing a red silk dress and that was it. It just seemed like there wasn't even a question. Like I was the one for him and that was gonna be it. And it was true. We're married. I decide I'm gonna go to nursing school and I'm pregnant. 3 redheaded Irish babies in 15 months' time. And then Amanda came into our life. We bought this house and we've been here ever since. Paulie went first and then Kevin and Brian went to school as well. So for the first time in who knows how many years, the house was quiet, it was clean, and he really struggled. And of course, we're doing exactly what we're supposed to do. Those kids graduated high school. They're supposed to go to colleges. They're supposed to travel. You know, I was ready for this part of my life. You know, and that became a big strain for us. So around that time, I said, listen, we have to talk. We were out in the yard. It was gorgeous. We were on the swing. You know, I said to him that something was wrong. Like, what can I do? He just kind of looked off. Now I'm getting tearful because I'm like, do you just not know how to tell me that we're done? Nothing. And I start to cry. And gets up off the swing. He walks into the house, shuts the door, and locks me out. So I'm sitting there sobbing, and I'm like, oh my God, what just happened here? I get up and I go in the house, and he's watching TV. Totally not affected by anything that just happened. And that was absolutely not him. And then that's where it all started. We saw a neurologist because he was forgetting things and he was struggling at work, and he went on an antidepressant and it didn't touch him. And at the same time, so he's getting counseling, scans, neuropsych eval, because I'm pushing them and pushing them. And I said, I'm not saying it as a nurse, I'm saying it because I've been with this guy since I was 21 years old. There's something wrong. Our neurologist happened to be pregnant. She said she was gonna go on a leave, and she goes, we gotta do something. I said, great. She goes, let's get a PET scan. And I'm like, you think he has cancer? And she said, no, but we need to probably just look at it. And I go, absolutely, let's do it. We get the results a couple days later, and she's like, well, it's abnormal. And I go, oh. And she goes, well, your husband either has frontal temporal dementia or he has Alzheimer's. And I'm like, okay, that wasn't really on our radar. We get the diagnosis, you know, sometime later that it was more Alzheimer's than FTD, and now I'm like, okay, let's go. What's next? So Paul went to work the next morning. I sat here and had a good old-fashioned cry for myself, and I really didn't know what to do. So I called the Alzheimer's Association, and I get this wonderful woman on the phone, and I feel like I've got it together. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? And so she tells me, I'll send you the package, take a breath, we're gonna help you. She was so supportive, and I'm sobbing and I'm sobbing. She's like, oh my God. I go, wait, just give me a second. And I pull it together, I'm like, okay, go, what's next? And literally, like a checklist, I went through it without even thinking about it. I just trusted this person on the other end of the phone, who obviously knew way more than me. And, you know, since then, I've called when I have a thought at 2 o'clock in the morning, if I haven't slept, and I'm like, what do I do next? It's everything. It's from financial questions, it's our future, it's long-term care questions. I don't know what I would have done without that support. He's changing every day. It's very different than it was, you know, just a few months ago even. I do all of his care, get him in the shower, I get him fully dressed. Shaving is quite a challenge, but he has to look good. Like, I have to have that man looking good, because he was like that. And the whole time he's talking to me like, what are you doing that for? Where are we going? I know what I'm doing, Nikki, I can do this. But then he can't, and he doesn't. And so I just say, of course you can, but let me just do this thing for you. As he progresses, my biggest concern is that he become unsafe. And as he is getting so much worse just in the last few months, I called the Alzheimer's Association the other day and I said, how do I pick a long-term care facility? They think he's ready now, and I'm just not. But I don't want him to get hurt because I kept him home longer. And I feel like, you know, when he goes, like, he's not gonna last very long. So for me to say, okay, it's time, I almost feel like that's me saying. He does have these periods, and from what I understand, other people have them too. You know, it just poof, he's there and then poof, gone. But I'm telling you, he was there for a minute. I didn't even have to see him. He said, hey, baby, and I was like, hey. like just the way he said it. And I was driving and he put his hand on my leg. I'm like, oh my God, he's here. I was just so glad that I thought to ask him right away. I said, Paul, is there anything we haven't done? He's like, what? And I go, anything. Anywhere you want to go, any place you haven't seen with me, anything you want to do. And I thought I lost him, but he was thinking. And he looks at me and I'm trying to drive the car and he's like, I just want to spend the next 30 years with you. And I'm like, okay, that was too much. And I said, we don't have 30 years. The doctor just told me I only have 6 months. So like, what do you want to do? And he kind of chuckled. He goes, it's just as long as I'm with you. And that was it, he was gone. I'll wait for the next one, you know, and see what I get. And so you live for that.